Hey, this is Wendy with Loaves and Dishes, and today we are going to be talking about making coffee while traveling. If, like me, you have struggled with finding good coffee while you're on the road, your host doesn't drink coffee, there's no coffee maker in your hotel room, you don't want to have to get dressed and go out and find coffee, then today's video is for you. So I'm going to start by showing you my travel setup. I use this Sam Show electric kettle, and you can see that it has different temperature settings that you can use, and that is the button for changing those temperature settings. This is the vent. If you were drinking, say, tea out of this, you could just put the tea bag straight in your water and then drink straight from there. It has a little carrying handle. I haven't carried it by the handle much. Inside you can see I have stashed the cord, and that's how I travel with it. And also inside there is a maximum fill line, and I just fill it straight to that line when I'm filling it, and it has this little flap that covers where the electric cord goes. Doesn't it look like a scared or sad face? I think it's funny. Anyway, you plug the cord in there. It has a nice substantial cord to it. And then you plug that into your outlet and you're ready to go. See, the lights are on, 3 lights. And when you touch that little button, it's not really pressure sensitive. I don't know what it is, but just when your finger touches it, it will change temperatures, and it has several that you can choose from. 212, of course, is boiling water. And that's what we're going to choose for making coffee, because the next lower temperature isn't really sufficient for making coffee. So the cord is a little short, so if you're traveling someplace and you're not sure how close you can get to a plug, you might want to take a small extension cord with you. So I'm going to fill it to the fill line, which is about 13 ounces. So it is not going to make my whole travel mug size coffee, but you know, if you want more coffee, you can always just repeat the process. It doesn't actually take that long. This is the challenge with this electric kettle, is the lid sometimes doesn't want to go on just right. You want to be careful of that, and then you don't want to close that 212. That's what temperature set it to. You don't want to close the little lip completely, and I'm going to show you why in just a little bit. So just put it down, but not push it in all the way. Now this is the coffee press that I use for traveling. It's a Stanley brand. I've come to really trust Stanley products. I think they're good, nice, heavy quality. It is worth the price you pay for it. It has a carrying handle. I'd feel safe putting that on like a carabiner and sticking it on my belt if I needed to. It has this double lid system. This first lid is, you can make it like a travel mug. You could use it that way, or you can take the whole big lid off and it becomes a coffee press. And if you've never used a coffee press, don't worry, it is not hard. You just take this little filter press thing out, and you can see it's just a cylinder in there. Nothing fancy to look at it, but it's insulated, and that is nice. Now, I've talked to a number of my friends who use coffee presses, and they say a slightly larger ground than you would use in an automatic maker is best. But I found that if I use 4 tablespoons of the coffee that I grind for my regular coffee maker, that for me makes a perfect cup. You might need a little more coffee. You might need to let it, I think it's called bloom, but anyway, you might need to let it steep a little longer than that. You're going to need some type of long-handled spoon. I love to use this wooden spoon when I'm traveling. It gives me some comfort of being at home. I was demonstrating that you can put the spoon all the way into the tall Stanley cup. Now this is my old travel mug. I've been using this for about 20 years. It's a Thermos brand. This is the most awesome travel mug. It keeps your coffee good and hot all day long, and I am not kidding about that. It'll keep cold drinks cold as well. And it closes and seals up really good so it doesn't leak. You can just flip that little lever to drink and then close it back up. It's just awesome. I've taken it everywhere for 20 years, so that's why it looks so beat up. But you can order you a new one. All right, now my water is heating still. See, the little lights are going around and around and around, and that's how you know it's still heating. It takes about 6 or 7 minutes to boil your water. You'll know that it's getting close because if you've left the vent where it's just sitting on the hole, it'll sputter a little and you'll hear it boiling in there. If you press the vent all the way down like I did here, you won't hear anything. It'll simply just do its job, and then it will beep when it's done, and it'll show 212. I think it beeps 3 times. Anyway, I'm going to speed this part up because otherwise we're just going to all sit and watch the little digital lights go round and round and round and round. But it does take about 6 or 7 minutes, which is not a lot of time. It's probably what your coffee maker at home takes. Okay, so I'm going to speed this next part up. Okay, I just sped up about 3.5 minutes into 10 seconds, and that brings us to the next part where I show you what happens if you've pressed the vent down all the way. The coffee's done, and now we're going to remove the vent. Hot water shower. You don't want that, so that's why you want to leave the vent just sitting on top of that little hole. All right, first I got to get a towel and clean this up, so that's the next part, and I'll speed right through that too. Okay, here we are. Now, supposing that we've left the vent vented during boiling. Now, if you're making tea, you can just put your tea bags down in there and you've got tea. I like to unplug it before I start messing with everything, and I should have closed the little flapper, but I didn't. Remember we put 4 tablespoons of coffee down in there, and I want to put just enough water to cover those 4 tablespoons and give it a stir for 30 seconds. 30 seconds. We're going to stir. I'm probably not getting a full 30 here, but I'm going to add more water and stir it some more. I'm going to add the rest of the water from the kettle. The water from the kettle will not fill up the Stanley cup completely, so no worries about that. Now I'm going to stir it a little bit more. See how it looks a little frothy? That's okay. We don't want it super frothy, so just gently stir. The idea is that we're getting the hot, steamy water all around all of the coffee, the ground coffee beans in there. Now, remember we have this 2-stage lid here, and we want to allow that coffee to I think it's called bloom, but we're going to do this for 6 minutes. Just put the lid on, let it set. And what I do, there I'm setting a timer so we know that it's 6 minutes. I'm gonna take my electric kettle and the cord and the lid, and I'm gonna put those away while I'm doing this. If you think you're gonna want more, leave it out. Or if you're in a place where you can leave your supplies out for tomorrow, do that. But I'm putting everything away. So, you know, when you look at the instructions that come with your coffee press, they're a little confusing, and I'm going to tell you about that in a second. Well, I guess I can tell you about it now. It says add the coffee to the coffee press, and I've never made pressed coffee before. I've never even seen someone make pressed coffee. I watched a couple of videos, but I didn't know for the Stanley coffee press. Does that mean you add the coffee into the basket? If you don't know, that might be what you think, because in a coffee maker we put coffee in the basket, but that's not what you do. You want the coffee grounds directly into the cup, and that plunger has it's a plunger. The little basket is actually a plunger. It has a pretty tight seal, and it has a little rubber grippy thing on the bottom, so it's going to catch all of the coffee grounds and push them to the bottom of the cup so that you won't have grounds in your coffee. You'll find that as it catches more grounds, it gets harder to push, and that's okay. That's what you want. You want it catching the grounds and pushing them to the bottom, and it will eventually smash all those grounds into the bottom of the Stanley cup. When I was researching ways to make coffee while traveling, I found that a lot of people complained that the kind of coffee press they bought was difficult to clean. It was hard to get the grounds out of, and they didn't like doing that while they were traveling. And that's one reason I chose this Stanley system, because it is very easy to clean. I wouldn't recommend leaving those grounds in there for a long time, but if you just give it a quick rinse, as soon as you're done making your coffee, those grounds come right out of there, and I mean, it's clean as a whistle. It just in no time at all, because it has that really slick stainless steel inner surface, and that is very easy to clean. So anyway, we're just waiting for 6 minutes to pass while we do this, and I'm going to cut it here because I don't think I have anything else to tell you. And I'll be back after the 6 minutes has lapsed. All right, and 6 minutes has passed. We'll turn the timer off, and I'm going to show you how you finish up your coffee. It's so exciting at this point because you know you're going to be drinking great coffee in a few minutes. See, it's all steamy and frothy in there. And now we're going to take this basket part, which is not actually a basket. I like to give it one little tiny stir. It's not actually a basket, it is a press. And we're going to press it down into the coffee. And it's a little hard to do. You got to be careful. That coffee is very hot still. And it's a tiny bit difficult, but it's not impossible. You can see I'm doing it with my 2 thumbs, so it doesn't take gigantic effort. Like I've heard that, or I've seen somebody make AeroPress coffee and they made a big deal out of how difficult it was. Now, you can just pour it straight out of the container if you're pouring it in a mug. Or if you choose to, you can use this as your travel mug, actually, and you can just drink right there out of that spout. I've done that. It wasn't really for me. I can't add my cream and sugar to it the way I want. I like to pour it in a mug. If I'm at a hotel or something, I usually just use one of their paper cups that they have in the room. You don't have to drain it. Like sometimes you get a few little grinds when you drain it like that, but I like to get every drop. So, all right, now I'm going to show you what's happening in here. See, the coffee's all gone. It's poured out of there. If we take the press back out, see there's some grinds stuck to the bottom, so it's going to have to be washed a little bit. You can't really see down in there. Let me get my flashlight, and I will shine a flashlight in there and show you what's happening. Okay, there. Oh, well, I didn't hold it towards the camera. It's it's wet coffee grounds that are pressed down in there. That's all that's in there. And what I'm going to do is take it over to the sink. This is in real time, so you can see how long it takes to rinse the coffee grounds out in the sink. And then you just wash them down the drain. And there you go, clean. See, this is just a simple rinse and splash them down the drain. That's all. So then your coffee is ready for travel. So I just put that all back together and rinse it all out good in a minute after I get started on my coffee. And now my coffee is ready to add cream and sugar to, just like yours is. And oh yeah, I want to show you how dark the coffee is that this makes. See, that's about, it's a normal darkness of coffee like you would get from your coffee maker. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. For full written instructions, please join us over on loavesandishes.net, where I talk about all the tips and the tricks and give you the exact recipe. And we hope to see you there. Have a good day. Bye-bye. I forgot to say, like and subscribe and click that little bell. There. Okay, bye-bye.